Good morning, my dear students, and I welcome you back to the English online classes. And this time I have chosen a chapter that is a little different from all the other chapters where you have been receiving a lot of deep morals and the study about the life and all those things. I don't say that here you're not going to get any morals, but definitely it is a little different because it will take you somewhere to the past. History is there. So let's just begin the chapter with a small introduction. Chapter's name itself is very beautiful. Journey to the End of the Earth. Two things are there in this. Journey to the end of the earth means perishing of the planet Earth. To know the reason why Earth is, you can say that, collapsing up, you can say that on the verge of perishing day by day. The second thing is journey to the end of the earth, the end point, that is Antarctica. You have heard of the name Antarctica, a very frigid, cold region. So, shall we just see what Tuhani Doshi wants to tell us about the journey to the end of the earth? So, let's see some past, some present, and definitely some future about the voyage that our narrator is going to go through and how he narrates the entire journey of his very beautifully to all of us. Now, here basically it is going to talk about the evolvement and then the perishing. We all know that the ice glaciers are melting away. We all know about global warming. But a little deeper, let's go into it. Okay? No, we are not going to do any kind of scientific research. But there is something which a person with a common sense can easily understand. So let's have this lesson. Let's get started. Chapter 3, Journey to the End of the Earth by Tuhani Doshi. Now let's begin the chapter. Early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel, the academic Skolasky, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. My journey began 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many ecospheres. Now, the narrator says that the narrator set out on a journey, and for this he has boarded a Russian research vessel. Here, vessel means a ship. So, a research ship, that too of Russia, he has boarded that particular vessel, and the name of that vessel is Academic Skolasky, means it is somewhat related to the academic studies and all. And this vessel or this ship was supposed to heading towards means moving towards the most coldest, driest and the windiest region, continent, and that is Antarctica. And he says that his journey started 13.09 degrees. You know that how the language is used for these kind of sea voyages and all. They just take the degrees and they tell the longitude, the latitude and all those things. So here also he says that his journey started from Madras, but his position he has marked as 13.09 degree north of the equator. Okay. And then he says that my journey is supposed to cross 9 time zones. You all know that there are so many countries and the countries are having different time. So that is what is called as time zone. Somewhere 6 hours difference is there, somewhere 2 hours difference, somewhere 4 hours difference, somewhere 12 hours difference. This kind of difference, that is time zone, different time zones. Then 6 checkpoints. I hope you all know what are checkpoints. We are having the checkpoints, no? When you enter into the other areas, their documents and all those things, papers and all are checked. You have to stop your vehicle there. So like that, only 6 checkpoints. 3 bodies of water, means big oceans, and at least as many ecospheres. Ecospheres means those regions where there is existence of life. So the narrator says that for his journey to Antarctica, which he started from Madras, positioned as 13.09 north of equator, he has to pass through 9 time zones, 6 checkposts, then around some 3 water bodies, and also a numerous number of ecospheres. Then he says, by the time I actually set foot on the Antarctica continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an aeroplane, and a ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica, expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon, was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. Wonder at its immensity, its isolation, but mainly at how there could ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. Okay, the narrator further says that actually, by the time he had set his foot, means when he had got down at Antarctica, he had already traveled 100 hours, not only in ship. 100 hours, out of that 100 hours, some hours in a car, some hours in an aeroplane, and then in the ship. So total 100 hours he had traveled, and like it was a kind of a relief after traveling for 100 hours. When he set foot on Antarctica, he was highly relieved that, oh, at last my feet is on the land, like that type of relief. And Antarctica, a very big, large sized white landscape, all snow, ice. So the white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon, the blue sky, it gave him relief. But he was also filled with wonder at the big size, immensity, the big size of that beautiful white continent. And because of one reason, that it was totally isolated. There is no life, no existence of life over there on Antarctica. So he was just wondering, so big, so large sized continent and no existence, total isolation. And also one more thing wondered him, means he started pondering over that once upon a time India and Antarctica, they both were part of same land. Surprising, huh? Yes, that's what this chapter is all about. The chapter says that once upon a time, one big landmass was there, means a very big land was there, land area was there, and India and Antarctica were part of it. And how they got separated, let's come across. So now, part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. Things were quite different then. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. Okay. See, from here onwards, the story starts that the existence or the coming of the humans have changed the shape of the entire world from what it was actually some 650 million years ago. Okay, it has been said here that somewhat around some 650 million years ago, there was a supercontinent. Now, supercontinent means a very big continent, means Mahadeep. Continent means that only, no? So, Dweep, continent. So, a super continent means a Mahadeep, a very big land continent it was. And the name of that supercontinent is been mentioned as Gondwana. And it really existed. Studies say so, surveys say so, that Gondwana existed some 650 million years ago, and it was somewhere which is now in the present day the center of Antarctica. Okay, but that time it is said that the scenario was totally different. The atmosphere, the beauty was totally different. And the reason, you know what has been said? Because the humans did not arrive till that time. Their existence was not globally. So everything was very good. Climate was warm. Now Antarctica, which is considered to be very cold and dry, it used to be very warm. And there were a huge variety of flora and fauna as well. Vegetation was there, animals were there. Then for 500 million years, everything went off well. Gondwana somehow managed, thrived also. And then around when the dinosaurs they became extinct, the age of the mammals came. Mammals, you all know who are mammals. Mammals who can give birth to babies. Okay, the young ones. And coming of this mammals, it forced, it is said, the existence of these mammals forced the land mass to break, to separate, to segregate into countries, which we people see in the present world map. Means the existence or the coming of the human beings created the world map, with the various countries as we can see at the present time. To visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. It's to understand the significance of Cordilleran folds and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon, evolution and extinction. When you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind boggling. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. South America drifting off to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate, and at the bottom of the world. Now let's have a little bit of this. The author says that, or the narrator says that, if you want to visit Antarctica, you must know something about the past, the history, from where we from to know about our existence, our evolution, and then where we might lead to. It is also to understand the importance of Cordilleran folds, means chain of mountains, long queue of mountains, and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon. Precambrian granite shields means the developments that had happened gradually with the passage of time, and then about the ozone, about the carbon, about the various evolution, and also about the extinction, means disappearance. Then the narrator says that if in the last million years, if all these things have taken place, means evolution, extinction, ozone, carbon layer, everything, it seems to be pretty mind boggling. Mind boggling means beyond understanding. You just think, you just imagine, the narrator says that, see, it's an imagination, none of us had seen it, but it's just been said that how it might have happened. India got pushed northwards and went and jammed against Asia, and because of that reason, as it got uh, crushed and bent with some force, Himalaya is formed. In the similar manner, South America went and merged with North America. And while doing this, it opened a Drake passage. A Drake passage means a passage of water between two bodies. And because it created a cold circumpolar current, means a kind of a cold, you can say that it created a body of water between two areas, and it became a very cold region, and that cold region turned out to be Antarctica, which became frigid, very cold, desolate, means life existence became null. There was no life, no living being, empty, totally. And also Antarctica got pushed to the bottom of the world. This is what narrators say that we should understand, that how India got pushed, how it got jammed, how it got buckled, means pressed, and Himalaya is formed out of it. And then how South America and North America joined, and then they created a passage of water and forming a colder region, and that colder region is Antarctica, which got totally devoid of humans, living beings, and also became the low bottom part of the world. Further, for a sun worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored is a chilling prospect, not just for circulatory and metabolic function, but also for the imagination. It's like walking into a giant ping pong ball devoid of any human markers. No trees, billboards, buildings. You lose all earthly sense of perceptive and time here. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty, midges and mites to blue whales and icebergs as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. Days go on and on and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light and a ubiquitous silence, interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or calving ice sheets, consecrates the place. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. And for humans, the prognosis isn't good. Okay, our narrator seems to be a South Indian, and he says that he is a South Indian who is a sun worshipper. You know, sun worshipper means who comes out, stands, join hands, do namaskara to sun and worships. Now you imagine that person, he has gone to a place where 90% of the entire earth's ice exists. Okay, and you can say that it is not that he says for the his human function, the circulatory or the metabolic function, but also for the imagination also. It's very chilly. Chilly means not eating one chili, it's chilling, cold. And then he says that being there in Antarctica is like walking through a big ping pong ball. And ping pong ball, ping pong ball means like you are inside a ball and you are just walking about in that ball and you cannot just see anything around you. Here also he says that it is the same way. In that big continent of white landscape, no trees. Yes, no trees. Then no billboards. Billboards, advertisements and all, hoardings. and buildings. Nothing is there. You don't feel like as if though you are there between the humans. There is nothing. Nothing called as living. And then he says that you will totally forget that earthly sensitiveness of being there. You won't even know what is the time, and you will be out, means totally that earthly sense that we are having, no? That looking at the tree, oh how beautiful it is, greenery and all those things, that earthly sense is totally gone. Means it is totally missing over there. And then he says that the time also, he says that the visual scale, means when he looks at, he can find things from micro size to mega size, means from micro to mighty. Like midges and midgets, means they are kinds of flies and small insects creatures, to blue whales and icebergs, means at one place small insects, and another place the mighty big whales, and also icebergs. He says that some icebergs are as big as countries. The one which has been recorded is considered to be big like Belgium. You might have heard of the country. Then in this way only the circle goes on, 24 hours circle goes on. And there is total, means very strange, it is the strange 24-hour austral sunlight, means days go and go on and on and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light. It means that basically it is in a serial, like 24 hours goes in a serial, one after another, same thing to be seen, no change, nothing is there. And he says further he says that in that particular area nothing else is to be seen, and there is a kind of total silence, complete silence, pin drop silence everywhere, which is interrupted, definitely, which is interrupted also, which is time to time interrupted. But with what, with occasionally when avalanches comes. You know what is avalanche? I hope so. Avalanche means when some big mass of snow or something like that slip from, like how the landslide takes place, like that only an avalanche. Or otherwise calving ice sheet, means breaking of glacier or big ice sheets. It then only it makes that place like very sacred. It is an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history, and for humans, the prognosis isn't good. It is said that when you just look at all those things, this entire things give you an impression that you should keep yourself with regard to the geological history, that is Earth's geological history. You should place yourself here in that place and look at from past to the present what all changes had taken place. And then he says that for humans, if we predict, prognosis means if we predict means telling beforehand, if we predict what may happen next with those avalanches, with the breaking of the ice sheets or the icebergs, he don't think that it's a good news for the human beings. The further ones, the human impact and the human impact on the thing and the walk on the ocean, these two topics I'll be taking during the next videos. And I hope that I have taken right now, what we have done recently regarding this journey to the end of the earth, you all might have understood it. And after a quick recall of the previous one, I will go for the next two topics in the next video. Till then, goodbye and stay safe.